Okay, our 45-minute sweat class. Here we go. Let's stand at the top of our mats in mountain pose. You might like to do a little shakeout at this time of day. Get rid of any tension that we've built up in the body. Of course, feel free to close the eyes if you prefer, turning our attention inward. Let's start with a little check-in, head to toe, noticing how you're feeling. So any physical, emotional, or mental sensations that jump out at you, just noting what they are. They may be important information, but we don't have to do anything with them right now. Maybe noticing other more subtle sensations and noting what they are. Let's get in tune with our breath. We can take a hand to chest and a hand to belly if we like. Let's begin with our 3-part breath. Inhaling, feeling our lungs fill from bottom to top. Exhaling, we let it all go. Using the breath to keep our thoughts focused on the here and now. Let's add on to this breath. We will inhale, filling the lungs, belly, ribs, chest. And then with our next exhale, let's draw the abdominal muscles in. So we use the strength in our abs to push the air out of our lungs. Let's do that again. We can relax on the inhale. And then contract on the exhale. So we're pulling our abdominals in and we're engaging Mula Bandha, lifting our pelvic floor up and in. On our next exhale, let's really squeeze to 100%. So giving it our all muscularly in this area, and then let's let it soften. Let's hold it at maybe 35%. And we'll hold that there until we cool down. Let's take our hands to our ribs. Inhaling, we feel our ribs inflate. Exhaling, we feel our pelvic floor draw up and our abdominals pull in just a touch more. We may like to picture the color yellow in the area of the solar plexus, feeling the heat that we are already building with our breath. We can add one more level of tension with this. We can add our Ujjayi breath or our ocean breath, hearing the breath in our own ears. A slight constriction of the muscles of the inside of our throat. So neck stays relaxed. Big expansion in the ribs, but with our exhale, abs pull in a touch more, and we keep that Ujjayi going the whole time. Building our heat from the inside out. We can keep this pattern going with our breath the entire class, but for a moment, let's come into a mountain pose with our arms, fingertips drawn towards the earth, palms forward, relaxing shoulders back and down. So we have suppleness in some parts of our body, and then strength in the core. Taking a moment here to set an intention if you wish, knowing of course that we can always modify any of our movements or techniques to be more in line with our intention each time we step on our mats. When you're closed, let's match breath to movement. We'll inhale, circle, sweep overhead, and exhaling, we're drawing hands through heart center. That's our pattern. Let's go at our own pace. Waking up the range of motion in our shoulders. And we're layering on our coordination as we reach up. Our ribs expand side to side with our inhale. And as we draw hands through heart center, keeping in mind our tapas, our inner strength. Let's do one more round of breath like this. We'll pause again in mountain pose, checking in with how much heat we're already feeling in our bodies. We can add one more layer, building our internal heat, lifting up through the inner arches of the feet. Let's keep that foot lock engaged as we move through our more active poses. From mountain pose, let's go ahead and step back into a wide-legged position, preparing for moonflowers. We can go ahead and drop into our wide squat or plie. Of course, knee over ankle. Let's engage those inner arches, drawing up through our pelvic floor, strong through our abdominals, and let's make a strong muscle here. Let's make a fist to begin to feel that strength in the upper body. And when we're ready, let's go ahead and flow. Inhaling up and out, 5-pointed star. And exhaling, we can make a fist or spread our fingers as we lower into moonflowers. At the bottom of this next one, let's pause and hold in moonflowers. And let's either spread our fingers or make a fist, but do something with our hands. Maybe we drop a little lower this time. And again, let's activate that inner arch of our feet. Maybe we feel that we're pulling the ball of our big toe towards our heel. That might help us kick in our pelvic floor a bit more. We're moving into sunflowers. Make our hip hinge, and let's come forward and practice almost like a wide-legged deadlift while we're here. We might like to do another one of these exhaling with exertion, pulling the belly in. And as we reach towards the earth, let's make sure that we're pulling the shoulders back. And let's flow. Inhaling up for sunflowers. Exhaling down. Maybe we feel a little bit of a bellows breath here as well. Strong inhale to spread the ribs apart. Strong exhale, using our internal strength. Let's all reach up to a 5-pointed star, and then we'll meet in sun pose. So it's a straight drop down rather than that hip hinge, and palms to the sky. We'll hold some heat here. So let's pull the heels towards one another. Our feet aren't going to move. We're just engaging that action, pulling in. And then let's flow a single heel lift. Might be a little lift. If we're daring, let's see if we can lift and hold both heels together. Let's hold 3, 2. Last one, we'll lower down. Let's inhale, arms to sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. And we'll go ahead and step to the top of the mat. Let's work through chair flow. We can do it the same way as we did our sunflowers. So we can take our pinky to the front of our hips, making sure that we are hinging our hips as we sit down and back. We'll give our toes a little wiggle. Make sure we can lift them and put the weight in our heels. And then we release our toes back down. We can reach arms forward, and just like our sunflowers, let's pull our arms back into the socket. Can we sit a little lower, noticing what muscles are working, asking them to work a little harder. And then let's flow. We can inhale up, exhale down. Arms overhead, ribs spread wide. Exhale down. Our abs help us with our balance. And of course, we have our different variations, right? Maybe we're taking elbows to the side. We could have fingertips to our shoulders or hands to heart center. But let's pick a favorite variation, and we're gonna sit down and back and hold. Like we just did with sun pose, let's keep the flow going in our ankles. We can lift one heel at a time. Counterintuitive, it may actually be easier if you sit lower. And if we're feeling good with this one, we can lift both heels together and hold. Let's release, we'll inhale up. And we'll swan dive forward. Let's take it down to the mat. Stepping back to child's or downward facing dog. Pausing for a moment and checking in. Let's check in with our internal thermostat. How warm are we feeling? Let's come up onto all fours. And we can make a starfish hand or a fist. We know our cat and cow. Let's do our flex and flow variations. So we'll take a big breath in. And let's hold in cow for a few rounds of breath. So this gives us the opportunity to breathe into our back ribs. So we might feel almost like a crow pose. Our backs are kind of puffing up. We're breathing into our backs. Or like an angry cat, like we're puffing up our fur in the back. Really drawing the belly in when we exhale. We're not always aware of our lung capacity in our back, but I promise it's there. Let's flow through cat and cow. We're gonna go like this: cow pose, cat pose, and then we're gonna hold the cow pose. So we'll call that our 3, 2, 1 pattern, and we'll come back to it. We're holding cow, reaching the heart forwards. And we can think of this as a reverse crunch or a crunch for our back muscles, sliding shoulder blades down to our back pockets, lifting our tailbone towards the base of the skull, squeezing our back muscles, and maybe now we're more aware of our breath in the chest. We'll come back through neutral. And we're gonna work through a side plank. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna start on my right so you can see me. So I'm kicking the right leg out. And I'm in a kneeling side plank on the right. I can release my hand if I want. I can still have my foot locked into the mat. Maybe a little bend in the elbow. And to switch sides, we're gonna flow through 3 times. So let's go ahead and switch. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna hold on the left side. Now plugging our right foot down, maybe feeling a stretch in the right side of the ankle. We'll come back through center, and let's make our way to child's. Warm up our half series. So just in case any of us are working with like a shoulder thing today, I'll give us an option. Our option is we can inhale in child's and exhale as we come forward into a kneeling plank. That's our pattern. Inhale child's, exhale kneeling plank. So we're using our breath to power this through, right? As we exhale forward, we are drawing belly to spine, lifting through the pelvic floor. As we inhale backward, rib cage spreads. Maybe we're breathing into our armpits as we go here. So that is totally fine. If we would like to add on, of course, we can throw in our kneeling push-up or kneeling yogi push-up or kneeling crocodile. It goes by many names, but is a great way to work our triceps. Let's make sure that while we're here at that bottom range of motion, we have kind of like a bicep curl in our elbows. Rather than our fingertips being to our shoulders, we want to open the angle of the elbow a bit more. It may help to turn your fingers out slightly. You'll know it's for you if by doing that you suddenly feel like there's a lot more space to drop into. Still using the breath to power that through our Uddiyana action. Not quite a belly lock, but a belly activation. Okay, one more if you love it. Child, or maybe downward facing dog. Pressing up and back, pedaling at our heels. Shaking out those hips. Let's work through a spinal balance. So from all fours, we'll do it this way for today. Go ahead and press your right hand and left knee down. So we're gonna push down right hand and left knee so we feel our core activating before we go anywhere. Really push down right hand, left knee, and then we can free the opposite side. Reaching forward, left hand and back left foot, or back right foot, maybe we're lifting up. But we start with that internal power. It's not about how much we lift up, it's about how active we are in that push down. We'll go ahead and flow. Let's do another 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Pressing down, left hand, right knee. Really push down, 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 down. This should give us some lift in our torso. So rather than sinking in the middle and having the foot and hand high, let's lift in the middle and we have the foot and hand level. Okay, if we would like a rest for our wrists, maybe flipping the palms up. We may like downward facing dog. We're gonna go ahead and make our way to a standing position. We can make this our first water break. If we would like to have a quick sip, we can. Don't let me rush you. We're gonna do a repetitive flow next, so you won't be missing too much. But when you're ready, we'll come again to the top of the mat. And let's step back with the right leg into a short stance warrior one. So not the biggest warrior one we've ever done, but 50 to 75% of the way there. Rooting that heel back and down. And to warm up across the shoulders, let's choose cactus arms to start. So our elbows are at 90, we can pull back. If we're really tucked under in the tail, we may need to lift the tail and get some self-esteem going in this posture. Like a confident dog, we untuck the tail. And we'll go ahead and flow side to side. So let's inhale to prepare, exhale to stand to the top. Switching sides. Inhale back, exhale forward. We may like to do a bigger range of motion in the arms. We might like to do quite a big sweep. Maybe it is a fuller warrior one. As our internal thermostat keeps coming up and up and up, remembering that we can keep our internal temperature lower with a smaller range of motion. We can come back to mountain, we can grab a quick drink. But let's all meet with our left leg back, arms in cactus. For our short warrior one, we make it match on the other side. So yes, while we're building heat with this flex and flow, sometimes the flex is actually an opportunity to rest. So we can pause here and be a bit more pensive. Alrighty, we'll bring hands to heart, and we're gonna take it down to a downward facing dog again. Of course, we could choose a child's pose if we prefer. But let's keep the child's pose somewhat active if we want that heat. So our arms are strong, shoulders away from the ears. We're gonna make our way back and front into a plank. So we'll inhale to prepare, exhale forward into plank. Inhale back, exhale forward into plank. Bit by bit, waking up those hamstrings. They may be a little cranky. Maybe we are tensing our quads to help release our hamstrings. Let's pause in our plank, knowing, of course, that we can drop down to our knees or even our forearms. And we know that rest is coming, right? Let's hold another 3, 2, 1. We may like down dog or child. Maybe we're flipping our palms up to give wrists a rest. Let's take our way to sun salutations. So we'll come up to a standing position before we go anywhere. Walking forward to forward fold. We reverse our swan dive. If you're like me and you get lightheaded, then we can omit reaching overhead in that swan dive and just come to standing. We may like to take a hand to heart. Again, monitoring our internal temperature, our level of exertion, listening to our bodies and responding accordingly. You choose how much fire you like as we build the heat of the sun in our bodies. Let's inhale overhead, exhaling forward fold, and let's step back into a kneeling lunge with the right leg. We can come up into our kneeling lunge, open our hearts, and make our way back to child's. Let's do our first full half series of the day, or at least of this class. Inhaling to a kneeling plank, lower halfway and pause, and then all the way. And then our next inhale, lifting up into cobra. So this is our modified half series, our modified sun salutation. We can always keep it modified. Let's step the right foot forward into our kneeling lunge, lining up, opening our hearts. Careful not to get carried away with the momentum. We're still matching breath to movement. Inhale to lift, and exhale to lower. Forward fold. Inhale to lift to mountain, and exhale to lower into chair. All right, if you do a ton of sun salutations, feel free to keep going in your own way. Otherwise, I will lead us through. Forward fold. Left foot back into lunge or kneeling lunge, choosing a variation that feels fantastic. Making our way back to child's or downward facing dog. Inhaling to prepare, exhaling to draw the belly in through plank, crocodile, and then up dog or cobra. Making our way back to down dog or child's. And we're stepping the left foot forward, making our way into any kind of lunge variation that feels good for today. With our next exhale, we can lower and step forward, reversing our swan dive, sitting in to a good steady chair. We'll keep going. Right foot back. Bigger range of motion, more heat. Smaller range of motion, less heat. Down dog or child. And choosing to rest or flow through our half series or kneeling half series. And maybe for today we just have embers, not a full flame. We're still getting the benefits of our practice, right? Right foot forward, lunging, forward fold, we come on up to standing, and chair. Let's go through one more, remembering that kneeling, that reduced range of motion is always an option. Left foot back. So if we are overheating, we can take it easy. Child's or downward facing dog. Resting or flowing through a half series, knowing that rest or even just that kneeling plank front and back, always an option. Left foot forward. Forward fold. Let's reverse that swan dive, taking a seat into our final chair of our sun salutations. See if we can give our toes a wiggle. And we're ready to stand. Awesome. If we'd like a quick drink, of course we can. But let's remember to sip and not chug. We're going to practice lateral flexion because we're going to do lateral flexion. So let's go ahead and I'll mirror you. So go ahead and press your right foot down. Lift. Let's lift our right arm up. Opening the right side of the ribs. Do we remember one movement of the spine at a time? If not, here's our reminder. One movement of the spine at a time. So we're reaching laterally, we're not twisting or back bending. Let's switch side to side. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Knowing that every movement builds core control. Let's hold on this side, pressing the left foot down, reaching the left arm up. Only lateral flexion. So sometimes this cue to look under the armpit can put us into a twist and lateral flexion. To keep our spine safe, we'll go neutral and then lateral flexion. We'll come back to this idea. Let's come to the top of our mats and we'll step way back into warrior one. Let's take the right leg back to start. We're going to reach our arms overhead and we're going to flow. So first we held, we feel strong, maybe we're checking knee over ankle, we're spreading our toes. Our instep is lifted, we have our foot lock, we have our core lock, and now we're ready. We can lift and lower. We can keep it an up and down movement, like an elevator, rather than a forward and back movement, again, to keep that safety for the knee. Let's pause at the bottom range of the motion. This time maybe we're going a little lower or feeling more strong and stable. We'll go ahead and open into warrior two. Let's give ourselves some more room. We can take that back foot further back. We can give our shoulders a roll. We'll pause. And to set our alignment, another one of these kind of fun tricks might help to lift the toes or lift the heel. We can take a look down and make sure we have our shoulders right over top of our hips. Let's lower and lift. Again, that kind of elevator up and down. So often we do this in a boot camp class, right? We do a lunge where we drop the knee to the floor. And now we're adding that same kind of repping to our warriors. Let's lower and hold. Let's flow. So we'll take hand to thigh, reaching along the side angle. Remember what I said about our lateral flexion? We're gonna go from a straight spine into reverse warrior lateral flexion. That's our flow. So we should feel probably more core work in our side angle. Let's go ahead and hold, reversing our warrior. It may help to take a look at our back hand, our right hand, to keep our spine neutral. We'll come back through to warrior two. Taking our hands down to the mat. And we'll step it back. Yogi's choice. We can rest or flow through a half series. Look to the top of the mat. We may like to hop, right? We don't do this too often, but ideally we land light as a feather and then reverse our swan dive to the top. We'll reset our posture and we're ready for the other side. Let's step the left foot way back. Any variation with our arms. If we're feeling like we're really cooking, we can always take our fingertips to our shoulders for posture, hands to heart. If we're feeling conventional, we can have arms overhead. Let's flow. Really dig into that front heel. We might picture the underside of our right foot like a suction cup, the center lifting. Let's lower and hold. Now we may be noticing that at this point we're breathing quite heavily, we're opening the mouth. That's not a bad thing, but ideally for breath training, we do our best to train a closed mouth. Of course, taking into consideration any allergies or nose injuries, but ideally breathe in and out through the nose. Warrior two. Here we go, lower lift. Let's lower and hold. So often, I don't know what this is, the bottom hand has a mind of its own. So let's look front, we'll look back, make sure that our hands are even. We might take a look at our shoulders, making sure they're over our hips rather than slicing forward. And if we do like that thing with our heel and toe, we can do it. It's one of those little things that often you'll do it and then drop into the pose much more comfortably. Okay, here we go. A straight spine, side angle. A lateral bend, reverse warrior. So our challenge is to not let the knee have a mind of its own and move all over the place. Inhaling reverse to open the ribs. Exhaling side angle to draw the belly in. Let's hold, reversing our warrior. Let's make our way down to the mat. Yogi's choice, we can rest or we can flow. Choosing how high we take the planks. Let's hold downward dog or child's. If we would like an opportunity for more half series, kneeling or regular, let's throw it in here. And if we'd like an opportunity for more rest, let's throw it in here. Or hydration in my case. All right, we're gonna open into a side plank. You may like kneeling that we did at the beginning, or you may like a full range of motion side plank. We can extend, wrist over wrist, shoulder over shoulder. And we love this mountain too, 3 to 5 breaths in a side plank, right? None of this 2-minute holds in a plank bootcamp class. We want to be dynamic, right? Okay, we're going to do a 3, 2, 1 to switch sides. Here we go. 3, 2, and then we'll switch and hold. 1. Pressing down to stay lifted. Use the breath to build strength and heat from the inside out. As we release, Yogi's choice, we can do another vinyasa. Or maybe instead we're reaching our arms back in child's to give our shoulders a rest. Okay, we're gonna do one more heat building flow, because I said I would show us something a little different to build heat. We don't always have to do upper body stuff. So from downward facing dog, let's go ahead and lift the right leg high. We might like a hydrant pose or hip opener. And then let's bring the right foot between our hands. We can pause in a plank on our way. Keep that heat going, but eventually we will meet in a solid lunge. So let's find our balance. We're actually gonna do a knee repeater, okay? This is how we're gonna flow. Arms up, We breathe in, we breathe out to draw the knee up and balance. Inhale back, exhale up. Inhale back, exhale up. This is a tough one. I find that my students really struggle with the balance. We might need to take more than one step. Might be a small range of motion. And the next time that knee is up, let's hold it there. Pull the elbows back. Lots of self-esteem. We step back into our lunge. Let's pause, find our balance. And let's take it to the mat. Of course, we have the choice, rest or flow. Maybe we're not doing a push-up, we're just going into our plank and then coming back. We always have that option. Okay, we have to make it match, don't we? So let's lift the left leg to create space. We may be opening into a hydrant pose. Let's draw knee to nose. We can hover. And of course, we know it might take us 2 steps to get to the top of our mat. But we're all gonna meet in the same spot in our kneeling lunge. Maybe it is a short range of motion because we know we're doing that knee repeater. Here we go. Breath in, breath out. So not unlike our bellows breath, we have a little bit of that pumping action going on. Helps us get more out of the same movements. We could go slowly, of course. We could, modify based on temperature and ability. And the next time that knee is up there, let's hold. So we have this kind of chaotic, busy energy, and then we find our mental focus again. We're stepping back to a lunge. We find our balance. Let's take our hands down. And again, one more time, option to rest or flow. We are ready for our cool down. We can make our way to a forward fold and come on up to standing. Let's do dancer's pose. One we don't often do. You may like to hold on to something, but I'm gonna flow us through a reciprocal inhibition variation, okay? So let's start. I'm gonna stand on my right foot and tap my left back just so you can see what I'm doing better. You might like to start on your good side, doesn't matter. So one foot's down and the other side of the body is moving. So for this case, my right foot is planted. I can draw up through my inner arch that helps my pelvic floor kick in and my abs pull in. I'm breathing into my ribs. I am tapped back and I'm gonna do a big circle with my left arm. So we're easing our shoulder into this range of motion. We haven't done a heck of a lot of shoulder opening, pec stretches, anything like that. All right, let's leave our hand in a mountain pose, and we're gonna bend our left leg. So I'm squeezing my left hamstring to release my left quad. I can lower and lift. Let's hold up. Let's do a big sweep around and finally arrive in dancer's pose. And of course we know we could have it open, we could be holding our pant leg or anything else. Some approximation of this pose will still give us the front body opening. For more stretch in hip flexor and quad, squeeze your glutes and hamstring, reciprocal inhibition. For more stretch in the front of the shoulder, squeeze the back of the shoulder. All right, we can release. We have that whole long thing on the other side. Are we ready? So we may like to hold on to something, maybe not. If you were with me, left foot down, right foot back. Finding our balance. And let's go ahead and circle. You know, your balance is the fastest thing to fatigue. So if your balance is good at the beginning of class and like falling apart at the end of class, that's normal. doing our reciprocal inhibition while we flow. So squeezing the back of the shoulders, squeezing the upper back. Let's leave our arm in a mountain pose. Let's flow our legs, squeezing the back of the leg, releasing the front of the leg. Here we go, we hold up. Let's give it a big sweep up, around, and back for dancers. We could limply hold, right? This is a lack of dynamic tension. That's not ideal. Or we can squeeze the back of the leg to help release the hip flexor and quad. We can kick back. We can kick hand into foot, foot into hand, squeezing the back of the shoulder. And let's remember to breathe. All right, we'll release this. We may like a drink. We're gonna make our way down to the mat. Go ahead and come into a seated position. Let's take a cooling breath. For today, maybe we are doing our hot dog tongue. So we can, really the easiest version of this, even if you can't make a hot dog with your tongue, is just to take your tongue forward in front of your bottom lip and breathe. So we're still getting that cool air across the tongue and the mouth, or we can make a hot dog tongue and invite some cool air in. One more breath. We'll let it go. And let's take our legs out in front. We won't be here too long. We're gonna take ourselves to the beach. And we're gonna start in a boat. So if we love boat pose, we can take our hands down or up. You may like a straight leg boat or a wide leg boat or any other kind of boat, maybe a boat with an anchor or many anchors. But what are we doing? We're maintaining our posture and we're working our core. The same as that yoga joke we say about tree pose. If every tree in the forest looked the same, how boring would life be? Well, if every ship in the harbor looked the same, how boring and unfunctional would life be, right? I don't want to go for a sailing trip on a shipping boat. Okay, we're gonna flow. So if your legs are up, we're gonna go ahead and take them down and open our hearts in what I call sunbather's pose. Let's inhale and bring it on up to boat again. That's our flow. Inhaling to open our hearts in sunbathers. Exhaling out. Let's do another 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And we can even stretch our legs out to bathe and bask in the sun. We can point or flex the feet, but let's do something with them to keep that dynamic tension going. We can still have our core strength here. And when we're ready, let's go ahead and make our way down to supine. before we go anywhere, let's check in with our bodies. So we're all in this group seasoned yoga practitioners. Scanning from head to toe, thinking about one final pose you would love to do. Maybe a twist, happy baby, sleeping pigeon, figure four. Legs up the wall is often a nice one. We haven't cooled down too much, so this might give you a little discomfort. But I trust you. Pick your favorite pose to finish with. And then we'll move into final relaxation. We have figured out a way to do it in a flex and flow format, maybe not. Maybe a final drink. And now it is time for final relaxation. We want to relax. We want to keep some heat in the body. So let's do a tense and release. This is a great way to build a mind-body connection with how much tension we're actually holding. So from lying on our backs, feel free to close your eyes. I'm going to stay seated. It's just easier for me to project my voice. But please do stay supine. Legs can be bent or straight. Eyes can be opened or closed. Let's start with our hands. Make a tight fist. Let that tension come up through the arms and shoulders. Really squeeze everything, fingertips to shoulders. We can squeeze shoulders up to our ears. We can make our face like we were just eating a lemon. Really scrunching our faces in. Let's inhale normally. And then on our next exhale, we'll release this tension. Let's do that one more time. Squeeze our fists, squeeze shoulders to ears, tense the arms, tense the face. We can clench the jaw. Squeezing our chests and upper back. And then with an exhale, let it go. We may even like to do a sigh here. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling, sighing out. Let's take it to the lower body. We'll do that same pattern. Let's start with our feet. Squeeze the feet, point or flex, squeeze the calves. Squeezing hamstrings, squeezing our glutes, maybe our hip flexors, tense, tense, tense. We can engage our pelvic floor, really pull up. And then we release. Let's do it one more time, engaging the entire lower body. We let it go. Maybe we like to sigh out again. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's bring it to our abs. We could do our Ujjayi breath with this if we like. Inhaling. With our exhale, let's lift our pelvic floor, squeeze our abs, chest, back, our entire trunk. Maybe we're imagining squeezing our internal organs too. We let it go, big breath in. We'll do it one more time. We like to sigh out. An option to take our hands to belly here in final relaxation. Let's loosen up. We might want to readjust our shoulders, turn the head side to side, maybe turn the toes out and in, leave them out. And let's really let that abdominal strength go. Let the belly expand into the hands. We can release our Ujjayi breath, gently parting the teeth. We may like to inhale for 4 and exhale for 8. This long exhale sends the signal to body and mind to slow it down.